Let's talk LeBron a little bit here. Waking up on this first day of the quote-unquote second half of the season, getting set to take on the Warriors tonight in the late game on Turner here on this rainy, chilly day in Los Angeles. What is he thinking? What's going through his mind today, do you think?
Well,
Brian?
so there's kind of two types of LeBron James. There's LeBron, and then there's LeBron who believes in his team.
Okay.
And we've seen this occasionally. It happened in Cleveland. His last year in Cleveland, he had kind of got, I don't know if he'd agree with this verb, he kind of got a little disillusioned with where the team was. He was kind of, he played 82 games that year, so I'm not implying that he wasn't invested, but like he went on kind of like this sort of headspace departure. I'm trying to be kind. And then they traded Isaiah Thomas and a bunch of other players, and all of a sudden, the LeBron James who came back and played down the stretch that season was as good as he's ever been. And the Cavs, privately said, yeah, we traded for Rodney Hood and Larry Nance, but what we also traded for was prime, fully engaged LeBron. So when LeBron came out at All-Star Weekend and basically said he believes in this team and that these are the 23 of the most important games of his career, which I don't think is true, but the fact that he said that leads me to believe that LeBron that you're going to see, not that he wasn't fully engaged, but there were a couple of times with this Lakers team in the last few years where he knew they weren't making the playoffs, and he either shut it down to deal with an injury or you could tell his foot wasn't fully on the gas. I think you're going to see a full foot on the gas LeBron James starting tonight. And look, he's dealing with some injuries. He's been dealing with a sore foot. He's been dealing with a sore knee. He's 38 years old. I'm not saying you're going to see the LeBron from the Miami days, but I think you're going to see LeBron going full bore. And I think he is trying to get his teammates, he's trying to set the tone for his teammates to do the same, particularly Anthony Davis. Because when Anthony Davis was playing well in December, the Lakers were a good team. They were a playoff quality team. And I believe, Rich, this roster that they have, if you look at this roster now 1 through 7, it's a roster that is a playoff roster. But what's happened with the Lakers is that they started this season 2-10 because the roster design at the start of the year was atrocious. And Westbrook in the starting lineup was a terrible schematic decision. They finally got Westbrook out of the starting lineup. They finally started to find a little bit of their footing. And then Anthony Davis dealt with an injury, and then LeBron dealt with an injury. But this is a roster that should be in the top 6. And most years, if you were talking to me in the last week of February about a team in 13th place making the playoffs, I'd have said, Rich, I can't believe we're talking about this right now. But I can look you in the eye and tell you, with the way the West is bunched up, with some of the moves that the teams in front of them have made, which are kind of quasi-tanking maneuvers, and with some injuries in front of them, including to Zion Williamson, who just re-injured his hamstring and now is facing maybe missing most of the rest of the regular season. Like, it can be done. They can get into. I mean, Darvin Ham said he thinks they can get into 6th place. That would be a hell of an accomplishment to pass 6 teams in 6 weeks. But they can definitely get to the play-in, and you get to the play-in, you have a shot with LeBron James on your roster.
And then the Warriors, the world champs, are in town to take on LeBron and the Lakers tonight. What's going through Steve Kerr's mind, do you think, this morning?
So it's been a very frustrating season for them, and they've basically been a 500 team for 4 months. Their defense has been really, really down from where it was last year, and particularly where they were when they were going on their real dynastic run when they were top 3 defense year after year. They've been in the bottom 10 for most of the year. It's driven Kerr crazy. Then, of course, you've got the 2 different injuries to Steph Curry, the injury to Andrew Wiggins, which really derailed them a little bit. And then Klay Thompson didn't start the year real well. And so all of those come together. You got a 500 team. Now, most of the time I would tell you that if a team is 500 after 60 games, they're a 500 team. That your record is what you say it is. However, when the Warriors have had their starting lineup together this season, which has only been for about 300 minutes, which is minute at this point of the year. But when those guys who were basically on the floor together at the end of the year last year are together, they outscore the opposition by 20 points per 100 possessions. In other words, they are absolutely the most devastating 5-man lineup in the NBA. So the Warriors can, again, look you in the eye and say, if these 5 dudes are together and playing and healthy when you get to the postseason, they are very difficult to stop. And you would say, well, my God, they might be a play-in team. And I would say, yeah, but they have won a record, at least one road playoff game in 27 consecutive playoff series. 27, which is the all-time record. So you're not going to look at them and say, boy, I don't think they can win on the road. So if they're all healthy, particularly Steph, by mid-April, I am, again, talking about a team and whatever, they're in 8th place, and I would tell you, you bring them up as a title team, I think would be insane. I absolutely think that they could win it and might even be the favorite, which makes people's blood in Denver boil because they're the best team by a mile right now. But I can't rule that out.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.